Republicans don't know how to win anymore, and as a result, we keep losing our country to the left. The GOP has fumbled the ball election cycle after election cycle since 2016. Their messaging is downright awful and out of touch with the voters that they need to turn out for them. They treat the disaster known as our current election system the way they treated it 40 years ago, and as a result, they keep losing. And there is nobody to blame more than GOP leadership. When a football team has a decent coach who retires, or if they decide to move on from him in search of an upgrade, they still have the same team intact. And if a new coach takes over and posts 3 straight 5-win seasons, even if they have an extremely easy schedule, there's no organization in the NFL that would keep that coach employed. So why should politics, a game where you need to win in order to get things done, be any different? We have plenty of bad leadership within the GOP establishment who are content with losing and doing nothing different, and they need to go now. Well, the good news is that we did get some positive changes out of the 2022 midterm fallout. Rhino Republican Governors Association Chair Doug Ducey, whose horrible placement of funds likely sunk at least a couple of gubernatorial candidates this cycle, has been replaced by Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds, who is probably the closest thing our country has to a female Ron DeSantis. While Rick Scott isn't actually the worst senator, he didn't do a very good job as chairman of the National Republican Senate Committee and has been replaced with Montana Senator Steve Daines, who will likely be an upgrade at the post in terms of electoral strategy. Tom Emmer, the leader of the National Republican Congressional Committee, who is a literal dinosaur and costed Republicans many seats with his horrendous fundraising strategy, has been replaced by Richard Hudson, one of the best congressmen from North Carolina, who is very solid on the issues. And even though Kevin McCarthy has still become Speaker of the House, the Freedom Caucus standoff made him cave into every single one of their demands, virtually making him Speaker in name only. Now, sadly, it's not like we've cleaned house entirely either. The aforementioned Tom Emmer was rewarded with a promotion to Kevin McCarthy's old job after the ridiculous House underperformance. Mitch McConnell is still Senate Majority Leader, even though he may not be in 2 years' time. Still, there is at least one more opportunity coming up to get a real change in leadership of the Republican Party. And this one may arguably be the most important position in need of a change to turn this ship around, and that is none other than the chairperson of the Republican National Committee, currently held by Ronna McDaniel. Ronna McDaniel was chairwoman of the Michigan Republican Party when Trump won the state in 2016. Although besides maybe calling Trump a few times to do rallies to boost her down-ballot candidates, she had little to no impact on his win in the state. Then, Ronna Romney McDaniel became chairwoman of the RNC back in 2017 after Donald Trump endorsed her for the job, which in retrospect was a huge mistake. Yes, you heard right, Ronna Romney McDaniel. She is indeed the niece of Mitt Romney, and for much of her career, she was indistinguishable politically from her uncle. She proudly emphasized her maiden name until she suddenly became chairwoman, which she tried to grift off of being pro-Trump to advance her career. That did not mean that she necessarily embodied Trump's 2016 agenda through the party messaging. In fact, she did the opposite, diluting it by emphasizing the same old GOP talking points about economic freedom, socialism, and the radical left, whatever that means. This Hannity-style, generic messaging has resonated with very few people, has not grown the coalition, and has delivered exactly 0 major electoral wins for Republicans over the past 5 years. Even the major wins we have gotten under the leadership of McDaniel, such as DeSantis, Youngkin, Vance, or even Zeldin's overperformance which saved the House, were because those candidates steered clear of that type of messaging. They won in spite of the brand of the National Party. Meanwhile, many Republicans that did embrace the McDaniel-style messaging, such as Martha McSally or Tim Michels, for example, fell short. McDaniel has also done literally nothing to use our current electoral system, which has been weaponized against us by the left. You can whine about the system all you want. Hell, I'll whine about it with you. Still, it's evident that it's not going away, and we're not going to be able to make it go away unless we take power. And until we take power, we need to use it to our advantage to maximize our electoral success. Republicans in California learned their lesson about ballot harvesting in 2018. When they started to fight back and use it to their advantage, they flipped seats red in the state for the first time since the 1990s. Republicans in other states such as Virginia, Florida, Texas, and New York have learned how to use our new election system to their advantage as well, and it has paid dividends for them electorally, while other state GOPs failed miserably. This needs to change, and McDaniel has done nothing about it at the national level over the past few years. Now, it is true that McDaniel recently has mentioned the need for Republicans to change how they view the election system, although she never really proposed a serious solution to the issue. It just really feels like a lazy, empty gesture ahead of her re-election to the RNC Chair position, which will be taking place later this month. On January 27, 2023, 168 delegates to the Republican National Committee will convene to select who will lead the RNC for the next 2 years. And for the first time in her career, McDaniel faces serious opposition to the position. 2 candidates are running against McDaniel. Many speculated that former Congressman and New York gubernatorial candidate Lee Zeldin would step up to the plate, but he has since decided that he would not run. Pillow salesman Mike Lindell has thrown his hat in the ring, and while I think that Mike is well-meaning and a good guy, I'm not sure he's cut out for the position. He seems too obsessive over one issue, which is important, yet may not exactly resonate with the entire electorate needed to get Trump or whoever the nominee is over the hump in 2024. He also doesn't really seem to produce the correct solutions to that very problem, which may lead us to continued losses, even if his selection for the RNC chair does not hurt the brand. He also is a distraction, it seems, and it will only take votes away from an actually viable challenger. And that challenger is just as solid on the issues that matter and is more serious about winning, and that challenger is Harmeet K. Dillon. Dillon rose to political prominence in the GOP over the past 15 years or so, and has been a powerful attorney in California for quite some time. Her detractors may point to her support of Kamala Harris as Attorney General as proof for why she may not be solid, yet it's very true that Donald Trump himself donated to Harris's campaign because back then, she actually was perceived to be tough on crime. Dillon filed lawsuits against universities for violating the First Amendment, she's taken on big tech, and she also routinely challenged California's draconian COVID restrictions and mask mandates. She also filed lawsuits against New Jersey and Virginia for keeping churches closed during the pandemic as well. Additionally, she served as a legal advisor for Trump's 2020 campaign and stuck with him during the post-election fallout. In addition to her background, it's very evident that she understands that the losing culture within the Republican Party needs to be fixed. And she's also a team player who is not going to throw authentic conservative candidates and ideas under the bus either. Furthermore, she wants to win and will do everything in her power to take the GOP in a more winning direction. Let's take a look at her platform. First, she mentions that the RNC needs to be decentralized out of the Beltway, and I completely agree. This is also an important thing in terms of allowing people closer to the voters dictate policy and messaging instead of K Street lobbyists, think tanks, and other DC bureaucrats. This would be a great step in the right direction for the GOP, and it may help increase our gains over time in Middle America. Secondly, she talks about how the GOP needs to go on offense in terms of lawsuits and litigation. She basically says that we need our own team of Mark Eliases, a very annoying Democrat attorney who has done everything in his power to maximize Democrat seats during redistricting and to change election laws in the Democrats' favor. Even when his lawsuits fail, they tend to put pressure on Republicans to soften or dilute our agenda. As a lawyer, she understands the importance of using the legal system to our advantage and not just playing defense at the hands of these ambulance-chasing liberals. Thirdly, she mentions how the GOP needs to innovate by cleaning house, similar to how Elon Musk did at Twitter. Taking a wrecking ball to all of the dinosaurs influencing the party in the RNC would be a massive step forward in improving our messaging and electoral strategy as well. We all know that Republicans had a massive fundraising issue in 2022. The establishment exhausted millions of dollars slandering America First candidates in primaries, and when they actually won the primary against all odds, there was no money left for them in the general. And if there was, it likely went up to Alaska to save Rhino Lisa Murkowski's job. Either way, money is dry these days in the GOP, and we need to bring it back without compromising our message to placate liberal donors and corporations. Many candidates had to rely on annoying their voters for days on end with text messages to make donations that they could not afford, and that needs to end. And that's the fourth point of Dylan's platform, as she claims that we need to change how we view fundraising and recruit the big money donors back into our party by using new strategies, although she does not specify exactly which. Either way, her heart is in the right place here, unlike McDaniel's. Points 5 and 6 on the platform deal with technology and infrastructure. It has long been known that the Democrats operate like they are in 2023, if not 2030, when it comes to politics, especially after their stunning loss in 2016 lit a fire under them. Democrats find their voters, barrage them with text messages in a non-threatening way, and maximize their technological capability to ensure the highest turnout possible. Republicans still think it's 1985 for some reason, hence why they keep losing in this current day and age. We need our own technology, our own institutions, our own dark money. That's how we take back this country. We complain about the left abusing power all the time, but if we can't use any of our own that we legally could use to win, we don't deserve to win at all. Point 7 is arguably the most important of Dylan's platform, finding every ballot possible. We need to change the way we view elections. We need to ballot harvest where Democrats are ballot harvesting. We need to bus voters in the rural Midwest to the polls or early voting the way that Democrats do in the inner cities. We need drop boxes in gun ranges, on golf courses, by churches, places where conservatives and Republicans typically go. That is how we maximize turnout. Getting one more vote than our opponents in every key state is how we win. We need to use election month to our advantage to do so. Now again, I don't like our current election system. I think it's a clown show, but we will never be able to change it so long as we never win an election with it. So in the meantime, we must be using it to our advantage. Dylan seems to understand this better than both of her opponents. Point 8. The final point on Dylan's platform is that we need to create a vision. Less reacting or caving to special interests and foreign wars, more helping the everyday Americans who put Trump in the White House in the first place. Focus on expanding our coalition without caving. That is how we need to lead the party forward. Now that's what Dylan is running on. I would have to say that I am fairly impressed with her platform. I don't know if she's going to be perfect on every single issue, or if she's going to be the long-term answer for decades to come. However, she just needs to be a team player who wants to win, unlike Ronna Romney McDaniel. We need to change the culture and get back on the winning path regardless. But that doesn't mean that there won't be plenty of people, many of which act like they know more than they actually do when it comes to politics, standing in the way. Electabros are people on the internet who routinely want the weakest or most moderate candidate to be nominated in every single race under the somewhat false guise of electability. Many of them wanted McDaniel gone after the midterms, rightfully so, but it seems as if many of them now prefer her, a proven loser, over Harmeet Dillon. They will mention several things as to why Dillon will destroy the GOP brand, all of which are completely nonsensical, and I will explain why. Their first claim is that Dillon is too far right and will damage the GOP brand because she was a Trump loyalist. This is incredibly dumb. Whether you prefer Trump or DeSantis in 2024, Trump was the de facto leader of the party for the past 6 years and is still to a large degree. Her siding with Trump on election integrity doesn't mean that she damages the brand. McDaniel made similar claims as well, even though it's not like they really meant anything, and so did their hero, Ron DeSantis. Dillon is not running a campaign for the RNC chair on this issue, at least not on this issue alone, and she's focusing on what matters, winning, so this argument against her is a total distraction. Their second and other claim is that Dillon is propping up crazy people because she congratulated the controversial former Nevada AG candidate for becoming a delegate to the RNC. Yeah, like, how dare she be happy that she is potentially going to be getting another vote for the position? These people are ridiculous. Dillon is an intelligent, respectable attorney who, unlike many, knows what she is doing. She's not dumb. And besides, it's not like Democrats have propped up wacky people for the past decade in their own party establishment. And looking into this individual that she praised, it turns out she lost because of a scandal that was manufactured by the GOP establishment in Nevada to sink her campaign in the general election. Stop throwing our own under the bus. The left never does this, and that's a large part of why they keep winning. Now, does Dylan actually stand a chance against McDaniel? It's an uphill climb, that's for sure, regardless if she does or not. I will say that initially, over 100 members before Dylan entered the race pledged to re-elect McDaniel. However, that number has allegedly dipped by at least a couple dozen since Dylan entered the race and has been gaining momentum ever since. I guess we'll just have to see what happens, something I do tend to say quite a bit on this channel. But do remember that 85 out of 168 delegates need to vote for the winner. Hopefully Dylan can get over the hump down the stretch, but it's important not to downplay the large pull that the establishment has over this election. We very may well get burned yet again. And if we do, and the GOP chooses to re-elect a 3-cycle loser in Ronna Romney McDaniel instead of an intelligent fighter with a better vision for the party and a desire to build a winning culture, it just proves how out of touch with their voter base they actually are. They are lying down and giving up to placate the few who despise their voters for an extra couple of brownie points, and it's sad. Polls routinely show that a vast supermajority of Republican voters want to change, far more even than the portion of the GOP electorate who did not approve of Kevin McCarthy becoming Speaker. Yes, Trafalgar's credibility was shot to zero after these midterms, but it's not like they were ridiculously far off in many Republican primaries. And their recent poll on the matter shows that by an 86-14 margin, Republican voters prefer Dylan over McDaniel. No amount of a margin of error could change that. A TPUSA straw poll taken at their annual America Fest conference showed Dylan with a commanding lead as well, and she has only grown more in favor with the base ever since. The Republican Party, just like after 2020, remains at a crossroads. Do we keep doing what we are doing when we have been losing, not only elections, but also our country? Conservatives have lost control over every cultural institution over the past 6 decades or so, and the second we maintain a little bit of political power to potentially rectify that, we lie down and cave, and nothing changes. Changing our leadership would be a big step in the right direction, and getting rid of Ronna Romney McDaniel would be a very big part of that big step. And that's my take. Thanks for watching this video. Like this video down below, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications so you never miss another video. Follow me on social media and consider joining the website. The links are all in the description down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Red Eagle, out.